boss babes, welcome back to my channel. So as you can read by the title, in today's video we are going to be taking you guys through the 15 steps on how to start your online boutique. Now if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed to this channel and you have your notification bell on, that way you are not missing future videos that I am uploading. And with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right in. Alright, so in today's video, we are going to be covering some of the steps that you should be taking to get your boutique started. Now, this is not all inclusive, but this is definitely a great way to kind of guide you in the right direction. And as I always say, don't be afraid to ask me questions and leave comments down in my video so I can help you out. The very first step that you guys are going to want to take is to pick out a business name. Now, I see a lot of YouTubers talking about this and telling you to check the trademark website and make sure that nothing's there, but that is not the only step that you need to take to pick your business name. So I just want to talk about a couple things here in this video. And I wanted to tell you guys that just because a name is not on the trademark database does not mean you're safe. Now, I do have a video where I take you guys a little bit more in depth about this and where I talk about it on a more deeper level. But basically, even when you go to the trademark website, it literally tells you that just because your name is not listed in the USPTO does not mean that you are safe. And the way I found this out is actually I went ahead and trademarked my name on the trademark database, and I ended up getting an office action back. You can not only not have a name that's already trademarked, but you also cannot have a name that has a keyword in a category that is similar to yours. So let's say, for example, you're owning a clothing store and there's something called Luxe Beauty 103. Well, if you wanted to start a boutique business called Luxe Beauty by Alicia, they might flag that and tell you that because you guys both have the word Luxe in your brand name and because you guys are both selling clothing, that it might be too similar for you to trademark your name. So watch out for that. And like I said, I do have a video where I go a little bit more in depth, and so I'm going to link it up here. But yeah, that is basically the first thing that you are going to do. Now, the second thing that you're going to want to go ahead and do after picking your brand name is you want to check in a domain database if your domain name is available. Now, I also have a video about this, but the process is relatively simple, so I'm just going to take you guys through it briefly in this video. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and go to GoDaddy.com. There is a bunch of websites that offer domain hosting. I personally prefer GoDaddy, and I talk about this in my other videos, but basically they are really safe, they are super reliable, cheap, and they're just super easy to integrate with basically any web host that you're using. Once you figure out that your brand name is available, you're going to go ahead and check on their website to see if that domain name is available. So ideally you want a .com because .com is just, you know, basically recognized worldwide. When customers will see a .com, they're more likely to trust your website and buy from you. So I always say get a .com. I don't recommend a .info or a .io, and especially any domains that end in US, UK, or a specific country, because that can cause issues with other things later down the road. So go ahead and make sure your domain name is available, and then after that you're going to want to make sure to check that it is available on social media. Now that you have all three of those steps done and you figured out your brand name, you got your social media handles, and you purchased your website, what you're going to want to do now is to get your free business email. Now, I already covered one of the ways to get a free business email on this channel, and I will have that video linked up here and below, but I also have one other way that I have to show you guys, so make sure, like I said, you're paying attention to the videos that I upload weekly. Now, the next step, and I would say especially if you're owning a boutique business, one of the most crucial steps you want to take is to get your seller's permit. Now, this is one of the things that I recommend getting off bat, because if you do not have a seller's permit, you cannot access, you cannot look at, and you cannot even browse any of the wholesale websites. The seller's permit is something that you should get only if you are serious about buying inventory, because a lot of people make it seem like it's just some silly paper that you have to get cheap inventory, but that is not the case. You guys can get into very serious and very severe trouble if you are not properly maintaining your seller's permit. The other reason you want this is because I do not recommend wholesaling overseas, and I have other videos where I talk about that as well. The next thing you're going to need to do is to create your business budget, and there are many ways you can do this. I cannot cover one specific way in this video because everyone's situation is different. There are definitely some YouTube videos you can look up and some templates you can find online on how to budget your pre-launch. This is an example of one template that you can use to kind of formulate and kind of decide how much money you're going to spend up front. So you want to make sure to get that business budget taken care of and stick to it. There's no need to spend over it and burn bridges and cause yourself to be burnt out and discouraged afterwards. So make sure you have your business budget taken care of. Now what you're going to want to do is to create your website, and there are plenty of free ways, there are plenty of free platforms that will allow you to create a website without spending any money up front. So this is a great way to get started, and it is a way that I can recommend for you to get going. But if you you do want to take your business seriously, and if you do want to go ahead and get the ball rolling professionally, and you don't want to deal with the headache of transferring things, then I would highly recommend that you go immediately into Shopify and just start your business there. I know there are some YouTubers who recommend Big Cartel, or they recommend Squarespace because it's a little bit cheaper, but for that $10 difference, the $5 difference that you're going to be paying, I just personally don't see it worth the headache. And on top of that, Shopify has a lot of built-in tools into their platform that is going to save you a lot of money while you're starting your business. So for example, they have a free email marketing platform, they have a free collaboration platform where you can hire your influencers and manage them for free. So Shopify, in my opinion, is just overall worth it, and I wouldn't recommend going with Big Cartel or Squarespace or any of those options. So with that being said, you want to definitely get your website built and start working on the back end of things. So the next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to figure out your suppliers and your wholesaling method. So are you going to be buying from overseas suppliers, or are you going to be buying from American suppliers? And that is a big difference because it is two completely different learning curves and two completely different methods on how to buy your inventory. So you have to really decide for yourself which method you want to use and which method would be more beneficial for your business. I always say, if you want quality, if you want fast delivery times, if you want reliable suppliers, and you're not planning to really make any kind of custom made items or any custom cuts, then go ahead and source with American suppliers, because that is literally the easiest way to get started. If you're looking to kind of customize things, put your own brand on items, have your own types of sweatshirts, hoodies, or anything like that, then I recommend going with Alibaba or AliExpress and custom sourcing those items. Next, I know that I talked about this briefly, but this is where you're going to want to go ahead and start working on the back end things of your website. So figuring out the SKUs for your products, uploading product images, figuring out your store's aesthetic, getting pictures, all that you want to go ahead and make sure that you get finished before your pre-launch date. So make sure you're doing that. And like I said, I have a couple of videos that go into depth about that. And yeah, so next I want to talk to you guys about is building your SMS and your email list before you launch. Now this is so important because you want to have those subscribers and you want to have those people who are in your warm lead list versus your cold lead list. Now if you guys don't know what warm leads are and cold leads are, they're basically just two different types of customers that you have. Cold leads are basically people who don't really know about your business. Maybe they know about your product and they're considering it, but they're not super interested yet. And then there's warm leads, who are people that already like your product. So I can kind of talk about this more in another video if you guys want, but yeah, make sure you are building that SMS and email list, because that is going to be super helpful when you're launching your store. Now tying into that, you want to also make sure that you know your marketing technique. Are you planning to market using influencers? Are you going to be using Instagram ads, Google ads? Are you going to be doing text message marketing? What kind of marketing are you going to be doing to help your business grow? Now in the beginning, I know that everybody's on a budget and not everybody has the money to throw on ads, so there are free ways to market your business. Nowadays, I know everybody has heard about it and everybody talks about it, but you really need to use the power of TikTok and creating high quality videos and aesthetics to help your business grow. So if you're on a budget, I highly recommend TikTok. You can also hire influencers and send them free products. If you feel like you kind of want to compensate them and kind of pay them for what they do, you can also send them free products and give them a commission rate, so that way whenever they do make a sale from their coupon code, you can pay them a percentage of that sale after you get paid. So that's a couple of different ways that you can market and a couple of different marketing ideas. So moving on to the last couple of things, you need to make sure that you're having a business checkings account. And this is important because when you start to make a lot of sales and when you start to pick up and your business is making a lot of money, you need to separate your business checkings from your personal checkings, because the bank will think that you're money laundering and flag your money, and they can freeze it, or worst of all, they can keep it and not give it back to you. So make sure you're having a business checkings account. There are a couple of places that will provide these business checkings accounts without the minimum account balance or the daily deposit that's required. So instead of going into places like Bank of America or Chase or any of the bigger branches that are going to require you to have those high daily deposits or those high minimum account balances, check out the smaller banks that allow small businesses to start with no minimum deposit and no minimum account balance. So a couple of good ones are Lily, Relay, Novo. There's also, you know what? I don't know the rest right now off the top of my head. A couple of good ones are Novo, Bluevine, Relay, Lily. But from my personal research and from my experience, I highly recommend that you guys go ahead and go to Novo. For me, they have been the most reliable. I haven't had any issues with them, and they don't have a minimum balance that they require for you to maintain or a daily deposit that they want. So I'd say definitely go with Novo. I wish I could give you guys my affiliate link, but it is broken. So go ahead and sign up for it, because either way, I'm not sponsored by them. I just want to make sure that you guys are getting the best information information you can by watching this video. So moving on, you want to get your accountant taken care of. So this is really important from the start, because when it comes time to file your taxes, you want to have everything organized up front, and you don't want to be one of those people checking through all your transactions last minute and scrambling to get your expenses together. So it is really cheap. I think it's like $10 a month or less if you're starting out, and they're always having promos where you can pay like 50 bucks for 6 months, and it's really helpful when it comes time to file your taxes. So I do highly recommend to invest in this, or if you're good at tracking those expenses yourself, then you can always do it on a Google Sheet or an Excel spreadsheet. If you guys want a brief video on how to use QuickBooks for small businesses, let me know in the comments down below, because I would love to make that video for you guys if that's what you're interested in. Moving on, the last two things that you need to do is, of course, to stay organized. I would highly recommend getting a binder where you keep all of your legal documentation, your receipts, your seller's permits, your EINs, invoices, canceled checks, all of that, because there will be times where you will need to provide evidence for your business, because they do mess up and they do make mistakes and flag things down incorrectly sometimes. So for example, I have a video of how I almost went to jail with the FDR because of a huge misunderstanding. On top of that, afterwards, they actually missed one of the returns that I already filed and tried to say that I didn't file my return and that I would get in trouble again. So thankfully, I have my confirmation page printed out and I was able to provide that. So the last thing I want to talk about, and the reason why I saved this for last, is because it's a very controversial topic. So the last thing I want to talk about is LLCs and EINs, and the reason why is because I actually don't recommend getting an LLC when you are first starting your business. The reason why I say this is because when you're kind of in that testing stage and figuring out whether you want to do this business or whether it's working for you or whether you even want to pursue it, you don't want to be stuck and committed to a bunch of paperwork and a bunch of annual filing fees for a business that you don't even want to run. So I don't recommend that, because LLCs are expensive, and a lot of people will tell you to just go file by yourself and that it's super easy, but that is just not true, because there are so many different things that you have to take into account when you're making an LLC. There's a reason that there are professionals to do this kind of stuff, guys, because with LLCs, it's not just as simple as filing the paperwork. There's actually 10 different rules that you have to follow after getting your LLC, or else you can still get sued personally and be personally liable for all the assets that you owe to the other person. If you guys want to learn about entities and legal structures and stuff, then I highly recommend that you guys read this book, because that is literally how I learned about all of this and what made me understand that you shouldn't just go to YouTube and listen to what YouTubers are saying about filing for an LLC. With EINs, that is basically something that you will get after getting your LLC, so that's kind of just like an SSN number for your business to identify them when it's time to file your taxes. So you can actually even get this as a sole proprietor. I know some seller's permit applications will require it, and that's one thing that nobody else will tell you. So yeah, double check with your state and see if you can get it as a sole proprietor. But I actually didn't even have one till about 2 years into my business, and yeah, so that's just my recommendation. But of course, check your legal resources. Like everything on my channel, do not take anything as legal advice. So that being said, that is the 15 steps of how to start your boutique business and the right way to do it to set yourself up for success. And I want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have made it this far, I want to give you an extra thank you and extra love for watching it all the way through. I just want to take another second to remind you guys real quick to please subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot and it helps me continue to provide these videos for free. Please leave a like and comment on this video and let me know what you learned. I want to say thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye!